Good morning, everyone. I got up at like 5 o'clock this morning, and God told me to make this video, so I'm gonna make it once again. You know how I had my channel and I deleted all my videos, and I'm starting all over from scratch again on video making, and it's just because I have a new life now. A lot of my videos that I had prior were of my marriage, and now that I am a single mom and divorced, I figure I need to be making all my new videos again, and just remaking them. And one of the topics that I wanted to make a video about today was being married to an alcoholic. I want to say up front, my husband never drank during our marriage that I am aware of, and so I didn't have the experience as most of you who have been married to an alcoholic before. Mine's probably a lot different. But with that said, my husband did attend AA meetings quite frequently, pretty much during our marriage, except for the end. He would only go once or twice a week, and then towards the end of our marriage, before we were separated, or even while we were separated, it was like every night of the week. And he was very active in his AA groups, and he actually, I could tell that he was struggling. He was struggling with the wanting to drink. His mental state is as of an alcoholic. He always thought as an alcoholic, and it is something that I am not able to relate to, and I am feeling really horrible about not being as supportive as I should have been as a wife for him dealing with that. But with that said, I could never have related to him being an alcoholic since he never drank during our marriage. It was something when I was a single mom before, and I knew he was active in AA. When we first started dating, I kind of made him choose between me and AA, because I have never ever been with anyone who is an alcoholic. None of my relationships ever have been alcoholics, and so I just could not relate. I could not understand. As a matter of fact, I remember getting in a big argument when we first started dating, because he's like, I'm gonna go to Saturday's meeting, and I was like, okay, I had my kids or something, so it didn't matter. And then he's like, well, we're gonna go to Side Pockets afterwards, and we're gonna go shoot pool. And I was thinking, Side Pockets is a bar and grill. I don't know why AA members would go to a bar afterwards. And he says, well, they always do. And I was like, what? And we got a huge fight over it, because I mentally, as a Christian woman, could not understand why in the world you would go to a bar if you're an alcoholic. I'm like, why don't you guys go out to eat somewhere else if it's just about the food? But it wasn't about the food. It was about the being able to be seen in a bar, and be in a bar and around that surrounding, and yet restrain from drinking. I guess I am still having a hard time with it, because it would be like finding a pastor walking out of a brothel and him saying, oh, well, I'm just preaching the gospel. I don't know. It just kind of seems to me to be just kind of odd. But, you don't want to put yourself in those situations, as far as I'm concerned, where people are going to be like, oh, there's an alcoholic walking out of a bar. So I remember the big argument that we had about that. But like I said, he never drank during our marriage, so I didn't have to deal with the aspects of being married to an alcoholic in that manner. But like I said, he did think all the time as an alcoholic, and it is something that I think is a reason why we are divorced. I, as a Christian woman, cannot relate at all. They say the serenity prayer about letting go of the things they can't change, accepting the things that they can't that they're not leaning on their own understanding, that they're leaning on God's understanding. But I heard on K-Love, an ex-alcoholic, she said she's come to know Christ. But she said, when she was an alcoholic and she was going through her AA meetings, she said that, they don't care who your God is. Even though they talk about God, she said her God for a long time was an action figure, like a Superman action figure or something. And she would pull that little God out of her pocket every time she felt like she was going to drink, and that was her God, because they want you to have a higher power other than yourself, that you rely on to help you get through each day and each moment and each second of the day when you may be struggling with something and you have that desire to drink. I know towards the end of our marriage, my ex-husband was taking my 8-year-old to AA meetings, and I know that is very, very wrong, because not only is it alcoholics that attend the AA meetings, it's also drug addicts, and it's they give their testimonies, and people testify about their divorces and their marriages and their relationships and their drug use and their alcoholism, and they may even go in, beaten up, or there has been a couple episodes I know where a guy came in drunk to an AA meeting, and they had to usher him out. So these are things that is very inappropriate for children, but it's something that I just really had a hard time during the marriage relating to. I understood that he needed his meetings whenever he felt like the desire to drink or stress, and when you're in a marriage and you're having problems financially, you're always broke, and I had me and my children prior, and to me as a Christian, I just felt like you just go to God. You don't rely on yourself for anything. Like even now as a single mom, I do not rely on myself to pay my bills or to feed my children or keep us warm in a house or anything. I do whatever God opens the doors for me to do. I do not ever try to do something on my own. Even with my divorce, God has got it. I don't have to worry about it anymore. No matter what actions are taken against me or anything like that, because I had a settlement agreement, and I'm sticking to my settlement agreement, and I've been following the settlement agreement, and so from here on out to the rest of my son's life, we are I'm going to be following that order to a T. And so that kind of thing is out of my control. It's not something I understand. I don't understand why my divorce has occurred. I don't understand what happened. I have never been given any kind of knowledge to why my husband filed for divorce, except for it was his decision. His decision's final, and that's it. And a lot of it may be due to AA and whatever he's thinking in his head about whatever those people have said, because I was never close to those people. I never knew those people, and AA was something that was an issue for my husband, and it wasn't for me, and it wasn't something that I even really wanted in my life. It was just a baggage that came with my husband when I married him, and as long as he was not drinking, I was okay with it. But to this day, I still don't know if he's drinking or not. I do have documentation that may be occurring again. It was during our separation. I don't think it is now. So, you know, as being married to an alcoholic, I wasn't married to someone who drank every day, and I wasn't married to someone who was violent at all, or any of that, like most situations. But I was married to someone who thought like an alcoholic, constantly. His mind was constantly thinking of how to keep himself from drinking. And he was really big on the coins, getting the coins every day. Every time you mess up, you get a coin, and it says, you've done 24 hours. And they just do one day at a time, 24 hours, 24 hours, 24 hours, a week, a month, a year. And they have celebrations every year when you're an alcoholic of your sobriety. And so, I was very supportive of that. I was very proud of him, and I would say, when I heard the stories of his past, of his alcoholism, I would say, oh, I'm really glad that you're not doing that, or I'm proud of you for that. I have attended a couple of those meetings when he gave his testimony, and I could not believe how amazing of a speaker my husband was. When it came to being alcoholic, he would cry. He would be like, my wife helped me change my life around, my children, I'm just the happiest husband, the happiest father, I don't deserve this. And at some point in our marriage, that all changed. And I don't know when that changed, and I don't know if alcoholism had anything to do with it, or if AA had anything to do with it. I am assuming it did, because he was going at that point. It was a constant tug of war in our marriage. It was a constant a battle in my husband's mind of AA and drinking. And that is one thing that I am so thankful that I have removed out of my life. I don't understand the mind of an alcoholic. I never will. It's something that I cannot relate to. He is with someone who he met at AA, and I am so thankful that he found someone who will understand him, because that is just something that I can't. I was a Christian and saved when I was 5 years old. So I have drank alcohol. I've smoked pot. I've never drank before. I've never done cocaine or any hard drugs. I've smoked cigarettes. And I just went through phases of my life as a Christian where I've tried these things. I went clubbing. I danced. I had a kind of a little crazy life, but it was very short-lived, and it was something that I felt guilty about the whole time as a Christian that I was doing. It was something that I'm not interested in. I don't really care to do it anymore. It's been years, and I just don't want that lifestyle in my life. I don't want alcoholism in my life. I want only godly things. I want to be able to spread the gospel to other people. I want to just have a family that I teach my kids about morals and values, and I want to be able to be, a family that is just bonded in Christ, and that the Lord is is, head of the household, and in all things that we do. And so, I just wanted to make this video because I wanted to say that if you are married to an alcoholic and you're struggling, my suggestion is to be supportive of any kind of AA alcoholic support. Join the Al-Anon programs. Those are for women of alcoholics, or family members actually of alcoholics, to help understand that mind frame of an alcoholic and what they're thinking. I do know that one time I sat down and watched the movie, I think it was called Bill W. It was a how AA got formed. It was a really old movie, but it was really, really good. And it was really from the viewpoint of the wife who had to deal with alcoholic marriage. And, it just seems to be something that was it was something that I really understood. It was something that when I watched it, I got it. I got it for the first time, why my husband thinks the way he did. And, it's something that I can't change in him. I would love for him to rely on God and not AA group in order to get his love and support, as far as not drinking. But it is something that I understood that he needed, and they do talk about God a little bit in AA. Like I said, it may not be the God, but they are talking about God. And it is something that if you are married to an alcoholic, I would encourage you guys to really consider joining one of those groups to help support and understand what it's like to be married to an alcoholic. If you are getting hurt by that alcoholic, I would encourage you to get out of that relationship. And if you are a Christian and he is not a Christian, I just encourage to keep your faith in God, because he's the only one who's going to be able to help you get through that struggle. I can't even imagine what it would be like if my husband was drinking during our marriage. I think some of the things that were going on in our marriage was horrible. The way I felt was horrible. I just never felt that love or respect from him as a husband, or I didn't get that spiritual leadership that I was looking for in a marriage from him. And that's just the only thing that was wrong in our marriage. It wasn't any violence or any of that in our marriage. So it's been kind of difficult to accept the fact that it was just a decision. And I need to move forward with respecting that this is his life, and he makes his decisions for his life, and there is nothing that I can change, and I need to accept what I don't understand, and I need to give it to God. And so I encourage you to do that also if you are in a marriage or if you are divorced with an alcoholic. And I just wanted to make this video because it was on my old list of videos. It was completely different. I really felt like I was kind of down on him being an alcoholic more, and that's not how I wanted to portray being married to an alcoholic. It's not his decisions and his actions that caused me to want to make this video. It's actually me and my story of being married to an alcoholic, and I just wanted to share my experience with you guys. So thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.